You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available in the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions at theoptionsinsider.com. And now, it's time for the show that breaks down the options market from unusual activity alerts to market analysis, strategy overviews, listener questions, and much more. If it involves puts and calls, then our all-star panel will break it down. It's time to hit the Option Block with your host, Mark Longo from the Options Insider Media Group, and co-hosts, Uncle Mike Tusaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, along with Mark the Greasy Meatball Sebastian and Andrew the Rock Lobster Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. And now, get ready to hit the Option Block.
All right, everybody. That music means we are back. We are rocking out here on a rip-roaring Monday. A lot of madness to get to. We'll get to all that fun. My name, of course, Mark Longo from theoptionsinsider.com. Back in the Chi-Town studios, back from my sojourn to the Southern studio. If you're hanging out in the Pro, you've already heard some glimpses of all the cool stuff that's coming your way. I think a few of my conversations, as well as a few of the panels, have already made their way up to the Pro. It's going to be an embarrassment of riches for you Pro folks over the coming weeks. There's a lot more of that stuff's coming up for you guys and gals. Check it out if you want to join the party. Theoptionsinsider.com/pro is the place to go. We will trickle that stuff out in the coming weeks for the rest of you folks out there as well. But the Pro folks, as usual, get the early access. And joining me on the program today, we got our old pal, the uncleest of Mike's, Mr. Uncle Mike Tusaw from St. Charles Wealth Management, as well as by the rockingest of lobsters, Mr. Andrew Giovinazzi from OptionPit.com. Gentlemen, both of you, get your hands on the buzzer, or in this case, in the chat window. Hopefully you both know where that is, so that you can play along with the home game, as it is time, listeners, for a little bit of the old 80s Trivia Challenge. Here we go. All right, time for 80s Trivia Challenge. Mr. Uncle Mike from St. Charles Wealth Management, you are still our loser, even though you did gain back half a point, I believe, last week. I will have our producers check to make sure the exact total. So you get to choose again where we go today. What color are you going for today, Uncle Mike?
Sports and leisure. I'm going to go with it.
Sports and leisure. I'm looking at this one. I'm just saying you might regret that one today. It's all I'm saying. All right, get your hands on the buzzer. Here we go. If you get this one, I'll be very impressed. All right, listeners. Yellow, or should be orange, sports and leisure. What's the traditional trade for aspiring Spanish bullfighters? If you know this, I'm floored. I'm flummoxed. Because I certainly did not know it. Any guesses? Going once. Hey, throw something out there. Why not? Go for it. Somebody. No buzzes?
A shoe repairman.
All right. You're actually not that far off the course there, Mr. Rock Lobster. You got anything? I will say it is a traditional manual task.
Farming.
No. Bricklaying. How could either of you not know this? Who doesn't know that bricklaying is the path to become a matador. So not sword fighting, not some sort of, horseback riding, or some sort of groomsman in a stable to understand animals. No, bricklaying. Okay.
Ow.
I'll have to take Trivial Pursuit's word on that one. I have not verified that.
What's funny is in the back of my head, I actually did think of that.
You thought of bricklaying?
Yeah.
Wow, your mind goes to some strange places.
Like traditional how many 500-year-old jobs can there be?
That's true.
There's farming and bricklaying, basically.
I thought shoe repair might be there. You never know.
Okay, I'll give you shoe repair on, plus it's bowls, leather. I got it.
All right.
I thought shoe repair is a good guess.
Here's my fun half point make good. I get to pick a category and a fun one on the same card. I'm going to go for pink again this week because it's fun. Get your hands on the buzzers, gentlemen. What symbolized justice and law to the Lone Ranger? Go ahead, Uncle Mike.
Truth, justice, and the... Oh, crap, that's Superman. Never mind. I was going to say truth, justice, and the American way. Never mind.
Oh, he had a symbol. Something symbolized truth, justice, and law to him. What was that?
I'm just going to say his gun.
Close, but no cigar. I was thinking the mask, but no, it's actually the silver bullet. So he hunted werewolves, and it also represented truth and law. So no points. This week, listeners, 0 points for anyone.
Those were solid.
Those were challenging.
I learned about Spanish matadors today.
We all learned something today, listeners. If anyone in the audience, if you got it, and be honest, hit us up, because I will be very impressed as we keep on rolling right on into the trading block.
It's time to break down the latest topics, trades, and trends in the world of options. It's time for the trading block.
All right, I'm just looking in our chat. Yeah, nobody had, what was it? Bricklaying as the traditional path to becoming I guess, is it like a wax on, wax off Mr. Miyagi thing? The form of the bricklaying helps with the cape and the sword. I don't see the path. Hey, so maybe someone can point it out. I would have chosen perhaps some sort of sword art, because you do have to kill the bull at the end. But hey, to each their own. As we keep on rolling, listeners, these markets are not to their own devices anymore. They are rip-roaring and just all crazy. Uncle Mike and his Facebook friends really up to all sorts of mischief today, listeners, because apparently we have some sort of détente on the trade war front over the weekend between us and China. The market's liking that, even if the details are still kind of a question mark. But right now, the S&P liking what it's seeing, up over 3%, about 3.1%, or 176 handles. My goodness, north of 5,800 again, 5,836 as we're coming into the start of the show. Dow up over 1,000, about 1,100 handles, 2.65%. NASDAQ up 756 handles, or 4.25%. And VIX cash getting the old wacko to the downside at about an 1880 as we're kicking off the show. That puts it down almost 3.5 points. About 3.45 points to be precise from where it was on the Thursday show. VVIX at an 88, down 8 points from where it was at the start of the show, or I should say from our last show on Thursday, listeners. And that raises an interesting question. That's our question of the week right now. Get over there at Options, make your voice heard. We're asking you quite simply, is this détente? Is this real? Or are we going to be back above 20 by the end of the month? Quite simply, VIX, above or below 20 in 1 month's time. Yes or no? Get over there at Options and make your voice heard, listeners. As we go around the horn, Mr. No winners today, really. So looks like our audience evenly split exactly. We don't see that too often. Lately, we've been seeing a lot of 50-50, above and below 20. So that's kind of interesting. Mr. Rock Lobster, we haven't talked to you in a couple of weeks. We will start with you, sir. A wild week last week, a equally wild session today. What's been catching your eye?
Well, I'm going to start to, drudge up what we did on our show 8 years ago. There ain't no way that Donald Trump can be a single-digit VIX president.
You think we're heading back to a 9 handle?
Well, I'm just going to say, if he could somehow get his 10% across the board tariffs through, which it sounds like he might do, brings in a couple $100 billion, Congress can somehow cut spending somehow, some way, and kind of move along on his agenda. I don't know. The playbook is starting to look similar. But we'll see how it works. Again, it's very exciting. But we'll see how it all plays out at this point. But at right now, if the trade war thing is coming down and it looks like he's gonna get some kind of tariff platform, because we're probably the only country that doesn't have really, or our tariff load was relatively light, but our global defense spend was high. I mean, we spend more than every other country combined on defense, pretty much, in order to ensure peace on the planet. People could argue with that, but it's kind of what it is. I mean, so he's getting people to pay. Which I have to say, when the country's broke, it's probably not a bad idea. So could it be a single digit president? It is certainly possible. Again, volatility has to go down. And realized volatility last week was coming in at 10%. So while people were kind of waiting for some headway, apparently they were, they're trying to get trade deals done. So they're kind of trying to do what they say they're doing, which apparently, whether you like this administration or not, they say they got a list of things to do, and then they go try to do them. Some people like them, some people don't, but that's what it is. Eventually, if it's successful, going to lower volatility one way or another. So if he's unsuccessful, volatility will go higher. And that's what we got. And Congress right now is basically kind of sitting and watching. So hopefully they can start to contribute to this grand experiment. But that, as of right now, that's what it appears. Remember, all of the earnings this year the earnings have not been bad. The guidance has been abysmal from most companies. So just really, really bad. And to the extent this could clean up maybe the second, we just had second earnings from the first quarter just done here. So this could, maybe they start adjusting things up a little bit, and all of a sudden 6,000 doesn't look so far away again. Like I said, you never know. You never know what happens with the market. Just take a nap and all of a sudden things are different. So I think we have some, we could certainly have, we could have ourselves a hootenanny here in the second half of the year. If, it's clear that the market will rally on this news at this point. So to see how far it goes, I don't know. But yeah, we could easily have a single digit president at this point. If the market is going to react to news like this, you just sort of follow the momentum here. And market likes the news. Vol is getting crushed. Realize vol has basically dropped every week for the last 5 weeks. Although this 3% up move is pretty strong. I think VIX down this much on the news is that's kind of, to me, like more bullish on the move. So I think it'll stick around a little bit. And heck, you're already trading in the 18 handle. You could have a 16 handle by the end of the week. And that's still in the upper, 18 is the halfway point for VIX. Everybody has to remember that. So listen to Dr. VIX, right? 18 is halfway. Half the time above, half the time below. So right now we're still in the upper half of volatility. So, when vol is high, everybody is like freaking out. They can't find their shoes. And then they forget that it's only a percentage of the time that vol stays that high. And then all of a sudden, wow, America works. And then vol gets low again. So I think that is what is sending up as long as you have the news that continues to confirm the rumors. And I think that's what we have.
Got some wild stuff out there. To Uncle Mike we go. Uncle Mike, you must have been sending messages fast and furious to the Facebook cabal. Just buy. Clearly the message got out because you and the Facebook kiddies doing yeoman's work lifting up this market, sir. What's catching your eye on a firmly Uncle Mike type of day?
Yeah, I mean, if we just have days like this every day, I mean, we'll be in good shape by the end of the month. So we're getting closer to being positive on the year for the S&P. So 58.81 is what we opened at on the S&P this year. We're at 58.33. So 50 points away. Heck, that could even happen today. That wouldn't surprise me if we got another 50 points today at the rate with which we're going. But we just have an understanding that the market overreacts both ways, to the upside and to the downside. So don't necessarily start spending all of your retirement as of yet, because there's always going to be pullbacks. There's always going to be things happening. So just make sure that you're being cautious with it. If you have some puts on stocks, maybe roll them up a little bit if they moved enough today, just for good measure. And then, of course, buy and hold stuff. Well, buy and hold and smile. But with that, a couple of things that I'm seeing today, that the market's just going to go up when you have things like this happen. When a stock as big as Amazon, up $15 on the day, or 8%. Another one when we have Facebook, aka Meta, up 7.75% on the day. Nvidia, that's just kind of the dragging this thing down, only up 5% on the day. So we're getting that. But Nvidia, in our poll of Nvidia versus Palantir, which continues to fascinate me. I think they must have heard you, and both of them want to be the winner of our poll between the two of them, because they've both been just going neck and neck ever since, because Palantir is not doing anything today. Nvidia took advantage of it and took the lead. Palantir is virtually flat on the day. And then we have Tesla back over the 300 mark again, up 6.5% on the day at 317. And when you're getting these stocks that moved the market the first time around, starting to move the market this time around, it's going to bode well for the market itself. There's really not too much to add from what Andrew said. If we can get the tariffs working in the right direction and we get the deals that we need, so to speak, that's what's happening. And I think that the fear of the bad, horrible tariffs and world economic collapse and chaos happening, it doesn't look like that's going to happen today type of rally. So I think we're in a good spot there. Combine that with, we are knocking on the door of being positive for the year in the S&P 500, and we are getting a little bit of a rush to risk from bonds coming down a little bit on the day. We're getting a sell-off there. Precious metals are selling today. Gold is down 3% on the day. Silver is down 1% on the day. So if you're a market bull, to quote my good friend Dr. Dre, who doesn't know who I am, Ice Cube, today was a good day.
Today was a good day indeed. And you're right, weird action on Palantir. I would have expected it to respond a little bit more aggressively than it has, but we'll get to all that fun in a second, listeners. What about the rest of the market? Is that responding aggressively? The answer is yes, especially if you take a look at our old buddy VIX. VIX of late been kind of sleepy. Been kind of just rubbing the sleep out of its eyes, getting out of bed late. Today, roaring out of the gate, well over a full day's worth of volume on the docket already, listeners. 1.3 million contracts already. If that sounds hot, it's because it is. The ADV 854, so well north of its ADV right now. The big dog, nearly 90,000 of the May 18 puts. You like those, listeners? May 18 puts, those are going out in about a week and a couple of days. Let's just look really quickly out in VIX land, see what those bad boys were trading for. 34 cents, 21 cents, so in a range of about 21 to looks like 34, 35 cents seems like was the lion's share of the flow, including a block of 32,000 for 32 cents, or 34 cents, excuse me. Yeah, interesting. You like those, listeners? certainly interesting. Number 2, 56, almost 57,000 of the May 20 puts. So if you like the 18s, you got to love the 20s. Number 3, 54,000 of the May 21 puts. Go figure, it's a put palooza. Number 4, 51,000 of the May 19 puts. And bringing up the rear, 48,000 of the July. Yes, I said July, listeners. July 18 puts. All right, we got to go look at those too just to see. What are those going up for? They're about $1. That might be a fun little flash poll out there as well, producers. VIX July 18 puts for about $1. You a buyer or a seller? You got to be a believer in the Rock Lobster, not quite single digit VIX, but let's say quieter summer period theory. If you're a believer in that, then might be a good little a little trade ski for you out there. Either way, that's number 5 out there. July 18 puts. To SPY we go, 7 million. I mean, you know the deal by now. SPY off to the races. ADV 10.6 million. Not gonna get there by the end of the show, but might be pretty darn close. The S, 2.5 million already. 3.5 million is their ADV. Yeah, spoiler alert, they're gonna get there as well. Small caps, IWM saying hold my bear, 1.45 million on the tape. Let's see what's small caps up to today. Oh, only up 3.5%, listeners. And then bringing up the rear, the Qs, 3.25 million contracts. The ADV 4.66. To the land of single names we go. Uncle Mike already broke some of them down for us. You know, in this rip-roaring upside day, is it an explosive single name day? The answer is no. It's decent, but it's not even really crossing the line of what I would call respectable. That's usually north of at least 300K, maybe getting towards the 325, 350 level. We're at 279 right now. That's decent. That's the best description for it, especially given what's going on out there, listeners. That gets us to our old pal Alphabet Class A, 158.25, up $5.50 or 3.6%. So just euphoria across the board. Number 9, the Monster. Is it monstrous? Actually taking a break today. Off $7.50 or about almost 2%, about 1.8%. Don't worry, it's still up 30 handles exactly over the last 5 days. So if you're wondering what's up with the Monster, that's what's up. Number 9, 291 on the tape. Bitcoin, of course, breaking back above the 100K level recently. We'll get to all that fun in a little bit with our old pal, Mr. Bill, Uncle Mike's other nemesis in life. Coming up in a little bit later on the Crypto Rundown. He's got Dan on one side. He's got Mr. Bill. He's got a lot of nemesis in his life for such a happy guy. Number 8, SoFi, 375 on the tape, 14.14, up about $1 or 7.25%. So they like this deal in SoFi land. Interesting. Number 7, AMD, 109.40, up $6.50 or about 6.5%. Good for number 7, AMD, 483 on the tape. Number 6, the artist formerly known as Facebook, formerly below 600, now 638 exactly, up $45.50 or about 7.7%. For the number 6 spot, 515,000 contracts on the tape. Number 5, the head scratcher out there. Uncle Mike pointed it out. I was kind of wondering the same thing. Palantir, this is the name that any given day could rocket 5, 10, 15, 20 handles without any news, really. And then today, we've got the mother of all news, at least for right now. And it's shrugging its shoulders, up 17 cents. Trading 117 and about a half. So I guess Palantir is the anti-news. It trades hot when there's no news. And when there's news, it's got other things to do. Number 5, Palantir, 520. Number 4, the Fruit Company, man. Roaring back to life, $11.50 to the upside, trading 209.84, up nearly 6% just today. 840,000 contracts on the tape. So all that talk of abandoning buybacks, chuck that in the rearview mirror. Let's dance. Apple, 840 on the tape for number 4. Number 3, the Amazonians, 890, 208.25, up $15.18, or again, about 7.85%. Man, rocketing hard to the upside, the Amazonians. Number 3, 890. Number 2, yes, number 2, back to the old world order. Tesla, 1.88 million, 318.62, up 20 handles, or nearly about 6.6% out there today. So a banger day for Tesla. They're up 45 handles or 16.5% over the last 5 days. So a good run for them. And number 1, NVIDIA, 2.61 million, as Uncle Mike pointing it out. taking the lead in our Palantir versus NVIDIA battle royale. There can be only one, listeners. Right now, it is NVIDIA, 122.70, up 6 handles, or about 5.2%. We just talked about Palantir, about $5 below it. Palantir was leading early. Now NVIDIA back in the driver's seat. Are you playing in either of those, listeners? Hit me up, let me know. All this news kind of overwhelming the earnings stuff. Nonetheless, there is some stuff popping off this week. We got Hertz if you're down for a little bit of rental car action today. Tomorrow, we've got Honda and Under Armour. Wednesday, Sony, and then cover your ears, Uncle Mike, Cisco. And then Thursday, we've got Alibaba. So that's today, of course, Walmart, John Deere, and AMAT. I haven't talked AMAT in a while, and not much popping off on Friday unless you're really a fan of RBC bearings. Then we got you covered out there. But yeah, just a banger. NRG, our good buddy, was before the bell today as well, listeners. So a lot of stuff popping off. Wednesday before the bell, Sony. A lot, yeah. Names you have heard of are still popping off out there right now, listeners. Of course, if you want it all, I did have a fun sit down with our buddy, Mr. Matt, the keeper of the earnings move results, and earnings season data. So if you want to hear that chat, pro folks will be getting it soon, and then the rest of you will be hearing it. It's kind of a live to tape version of the advisor's option that we did, which was kind of fun down at OIC. It's great seeing everybody in person down at OIC again. As we keep on rolling, let's get weird, let's get wild, let's get to the odd block.
It's time to break down the most interesting, unusual, and downright questionable options activity that's been identified by theoptionsinsider.com. It's time for the odd block.
All right, everybody, let's get weird. Let's get wild, and let's also look back a little bit. This first trade out here in everyone's favorite, this is a newcomer, I do believe, to the network. Kosmos Energy, ticker symbol KOS. And it got me thinking about our old pal, the Viceroy. We were talking about him last week on the show. Of course, our good buddy Alex, the Viceroy Jacobson, passing away not this past weekend, but the weekend before. A lot of people have weighed in on their thoughts. I talked to Matt with them and talked to Henry. Of course, Uncle Mike and I gave you our live thoughts last week. Whenever I see a trade like this, and forevermore on the network, when people are trading options on sub 10, let alone sub $5 names, then they shall be an Alex the Viceroy special. And this one definitely fits the bill as well. Let's get out to Kosmos Energy, ticker symbol KOS. Trading about $2 or up 17 cents or nearly 10% today. So popping hard today. Do you want to buy the stock? Well, let's look really quickly on the year. Do you? No, it looks like the stock is a dumpster fire, off $4 or about two-thirds, pretty much 67% over the course of the past year. So this stock has been on fire. It did hit $1.38 looks like just about a week ago. So they're off their highs, or off their lows, I should say, if that intrigues you. But someone came in today and said Jan 2027. So they're going out a ways. 4 calls. How are they? They got 20 cents at 40. And they said, you know what? I will pay 37 cents, good sir, 15,000 times. So the stock struggling to make its way back to $4, or excuse me, $2. You could buy the Forever Call for about $2 right now, listeners. This person deciding to spend 37 cents for not the Jan 2026, the Jan 2027. So they're going out a ways. So a little bit of long-term fun. Mr. Rock Lobster, what are your thoughts on these Jan 4 calls all the way in 2027 for 37 cents?
I like it when you invoke the Viceroy right away on these. Kosmos Energy. Let's see here. Oh, $1.96. Well, the only thing I could say about these is they bought enough time. The problem is I don't know. Are they, because there's some open interest. I wonder if they're closing short calls or they're buying more. Either way, maybe they're like, whoa, wait a minute, the stock's up 10% today. I better close. I think in this case, you just buy the stock. But what do I know?
Well, they're definitely opening on this trade, so we're definitely doing more than the OI. But
all right. So then in that case, I would say buy the stock.
Buy the stock. The Viceroy special. You know, Uncle Mike and I had a chance to react to that news kind of live on the show last week. It was a bit of a gut punch. You weren't on the show with us last week, so if you want to spend a couple of minutes now just sharing some thoughts on our good friend, the Viceroy, have at it, sir. The floor is yours.
Oh, you know, the Viceroy is hold it. Did you say something happened to him?
Yes, he passed away.
You're kidding.
No, I thought you knew that. Yes.
No, oh my gosh. Dude, he wasn't a whole lot older than me. Holy gosh.
You're welcome to where Uncle Mike and I were on the show live a week ago. I thought you knew that. I would have told you ahead of time. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, that is horrible. Well, I guess he would appreciate this. This call purchase would make him roll in his grave. He would appreciate it.
Yes, I'm sure he's listening right now, and he is rolling over in anger. You are correct. He
is like, why doesn't anybody listen to me? But Alex was a very nice, one of the honest guys in the industry. Oh my gosh. Oh, that is horrible news. However, he will, you guys, I think you should put some kind of hat out somehow. You should have an OI hat as a memorial on the website for the Viceroy. He was, I guess, you know, he really, the Viceroy was really tried very hard in an industry with a lot of, let's just call it, loose characters to look out for the retail trader. I thought that was his best, you know, he was, he didn't want retail customers doing stupid crap. Trying to get them to do like better trades, smarter trades, more investment oriented, using options the proper way, which is why he would always say, if the stock is $1, buy the stock and not the option, or probably under $5. Because you just have infinite time, you know. And in option trading, as everybody probably knows, you could be right eventually, but if you run out of time, it doesn't matter. So, yes, but this would be, I would guess, a Viceroy special. I guess we could almost rename the odd block, or there's a section of the odd block Viceroy special as a long-term memorial to the fierce defender of the retail trader.
That he was, indeed. In fact, in his memory, I spent a lot of time last week down at OIC in the Southern Studio asking everyone their thoughts on the state of options education. Alex was, of course, one of the last great exchange educators. They don't really exist anymore. So, yeah, just kind of interesting thoughts. Again, I apologize for springing that on you. I thought you knew by now. The news had gotten around, but you're way out there in the hinterlands of Maine. So news gets a little slow to you. By the way, speaking of old school members of the industry, Joe Solito stopped me out of the blue down at OIC and asked me all about you. Apparently, you're good buddies.
You know what's funny is I still keep in contact with Joe. We used to play a lot of golf and eat a lot of food together. He is now back in New York. Well, it's been for a while, but he ran the whole. He probably one of the better careers in retail trading on, you know, running the floor. Like, guy's got a great history, and now he runs all the equity business for Susquehanna. Not a small operation. But it's good to hear from him. But he drove through Maine. He probably drove right past my house and didn't know it. So I told him next time he has to stop by.
Guy comes up to me. I thought he wants to talk about my shows or something. No, he wants to talk about you. I was like, I ain't got time to talk about the rock lobster. What are you doing with this? But I thought that was kind of funny.
Joe might be the only guy in this industry that will live past 100. I think. He has not changed since I've known him for 30 years. Still looks the same.
Good genetics over there. As we keep on rolling out there to Commscope Holding Company Inc., ticker symbol COM, COMM. Trading 545, up 63 cents or 13% today. So some names are popping out there today. This one on the year is up almost $4.50 or 429%. It was trading $1 pretty much exactly a year ago. So a good run here for Commscope Holding Company. They design and manufacture network infrastructure products. So there you go. On the rampage. And you know what? Looks like somebody might still be into them. Somebody came in this morning, said, Nove 8s, how are they? They got 40 cents at 50. They said, I will pay 50 cents, good sir. 5,500 times. Again, that is about a 74, 75 vol. Earnings are obviously going to be between now and November. And the next announcement is on July 31st. Obviously, they popped off recently. Got to wait a while for your earnings, but you're going to get probably one. Maybe you could squeeze into, that's pushing it, but maybe. Mr. Rock Lobster, sir, what are your thoughts on some upside in Commscope Holding Company, Inc.?
Well, I guess it's at least it's a stock that has a little more value. It's over 5. It was let's see here, over the last, so it needs to make, for those calls to make money, it needs to make a year high. Not the worst call I've seen. Not the worst. You're buying some time. It has an outside chance, although the volatility, I'm just looking at how this is trading right now. Well, the 6 calls are $1.10 and the 8 calls are now 70 cents. So I don't know what's going on in here, but if I were somebody, I would buy the 6s for $1.10 and sell the 8s at 70. I think I would do that.
Interesting. You'd rather spend your 50 cents that way.
Whatever happened here is all of a sudden somebody got the hots for the November cycle.
Somebody's getting the hots. So you have the hots for these listeners. Let's get out of here on another newcomer. A lot of newcomers hitting the docket today. This is Centrist Energy Corp, ticker symbol LEU, L-E-U, an energy name out of Maryland, trading 95 1/3, up about $1.60 or nearly 2% today on the year. Oh, they've had a good year, up 52 handles or about 120%. So good run for them. They're trading 43.20 a year ago. So nice little pop here, nice little year here for LEU. And what do we spot out here today? Somebody looks like maybe feeling their oats again, Mr. Rock Lobster, to the upside. That came in this morning, said June 125s. How are they? They got 85 cents at $1.15. They said, I shall pay $1.15, good sir. 2,000 times. Worth noting, there are earnings. Actually, I take it back. There are not earnings. Earnings are on August 6th, and these are June. So they do not get earnings within these. They just get a decent duration. But man, 125. They need this stock to pretty much do again what it's already done. That said, it did sell off to $54 back on April 4th. So from there, it has almost doubled. So I suppose they want to continue that trajectory. Mr. Rock Lobster, LEU, June 125s for $1.15. What say you?
I have to say, just on the face of it, I don't mind relatively low cost options in $100 stocks. Although the problem with this one is they are 25% out of the money, which is a long slog. Although this was $120 stock, and the energy names are coming back. You know what? In this new frothy post tariff era, yeah, it could happen. Also, maybe they saw NRG earnings and thought, "Wow, $1.25 calls aren't too bad." So, I don't think it is an unreasonable trade, although it is not one I would do.
Interesting. You're surprising me. I thought you'd say sold to you on that, just because.
Well, I think that somebody look at the NRG earnings and like, whoa, wow, these things could pop. But the earnings for this company, I don't think are later. And I guess I would say sold to you. they're crazy. You're spending their 25%. The Viceroy would be yelling at me. However, the first sniff test of option trading is day one. You buy calls and you make money, because that keeps the theta man away. So these are already up 30 cents on day one. But like I said, in the new frothy, potentially post tariff area, we might need energy again. You never know.
You never know, indeed, sir. But you do know it's Monday. That means it's time for the strategy block.
It's time to dispense options, wit, wisdom, and education. It's time for the strategy block.
All right, everybody. It's Monday. Time to unleash Uncle Mike. Sir, what you got for us this week?
Let's talk about collars, baby. I had mentioned earlier in the year that 2025 is the year of the collar, and I still think it is a good year for the collar, quite honestly. And I think with where we are with this is there's times to be active and times to be passive. So for the most part, I would say that I've been passive with a lot of my collars, but one thing that I have done with them, and I think it's important to have this in your toolbox for what you may want to do, is if you have shorter term options, meaning if you have shorter term collars, and for the most part, my hedge only trades have been more shorter term, I think you need to be active in the shorter term ones. So for example, let's say that going into last expiration, when markets were down, we took advantage. We actually were able to roll down our puts because of the fact that we had a lot of extra juice in them before expiration. And then what's happened, of course, the markets have gone way up this month. And so now what we'll be looking to do this week is to roll up our puts to get a little bit of protection on things. What we're looking to do right now, and we haven't had a chance to do it, but what we are looking to do right now, with the exception of rolling up our puts, with stocks that have depreciated in value, that are still down a decent amount, that we feel that we can actually make some adjustments on. Step one, let's say that you are in a collar. And then step two, let's say that the market goes against you quite a bit. And the market's just going down, the stock's getting killed, but you do have your collar in place. So you're in a good spot from the standpoint that you don't feel that you're losing that much, if anything, depending on where you had the collar set up to begin with. As we get closer to a longer term expiration, which is what I'm referring to, now this could still work if you have a shorter expiration as well. One thing you can do is you can buy back your covered calls. Now, by doing that, you're going to take on a debit. Maybe that's not something that you want initially, but you will have to take on a debit initially. I've talked about this before on the show. A collar I had a few years ago was in Meta, and right after the metaverse was introduced, Meta went way down. And so I'm like, shoot, doesn't look like anything's going to happen here. So I just had the covered call on the collar for a couple of pennies, bought it back, and then of course Meta shot right back up, and it was very exciting to watch making that much money in a very conservative trade. However, we're not quite there yet at some of our stocks, meaning the debit's a little bit more than a few pennies, let's say. Well, one thing you can do if you're willing to take on a little bit more risk is that you can buy back the covered call for a few dollars or whatever you're looking to buy it back for. But then what you can do, if you're willing, and this is a big if you are willing, you can, instead of just buying that out of the money call outright, one thing that you could do is you could keep the long stock and long put. And then from there, if you don't want to have a debit on the premium, what you can then do is sell another put and create a put spread. So for example, let's say XYZ stock, you get into it at 100 and you do the 100, 110 collar, meaning you buy the 100 put, you sell the 110 covered call. Stock's down significantly. You buy back that the 110 covered call for a much lesser price than what you got into it. From there, what you could look to do is maybe sell the 60 put or the 65 put or something along those lines. And then what you've created is a way with which you had 40% of the stock is then hedged, but you have unlimited upside. And that's going to happen if the stock's like maybe 80 or 78 or something like that. And by doing that, yes, you're adding risk. So if the stock does go to zero, you are not protected. You are not protected. You are not protected from 60 to zero, but you still do have protection all the way down to 60. And you now have unlimited upside should something like that happen. So if you're looking to shift things around a little bit and you feel that that's something within your risk tolerance and you're comfortable with it, that's something to consider upon having a collar as your trade of choice. And that is the strategy block for today.
All right, listeners, now let's keep on rolling. A little bit of the old Around the Block.
It's time to tell you what we'll be watching on our trading screens until the next episode. It's time for Around the Block.
All right, everybody, welcome to Around the Block, the portion of the show where we tell you what we're keeping an eye on until our next episode on Thursday. Let me check in really quickly with some of our questions of the week and our flash polls. It just went live right at the start of the show, pretty much. Our audience decidedly mixed out there. They were both 50-50 exactly. I'm glad to see they now have ticked ever so slightly in one direction or the other. First off, we're asking you right now, VIX above or below 20, listeners, in 1 month's time. So not calendar month, but 1 month's time from now. And our audience still close to 50-50, now slightly leaning towards below 52.6%, 47.4% say, nope, we're going right back up, listeners. Speaking of VIX, we also put that flash poll out that we were just talking about with the July 18 puts for VIX for trading around $1. You a buyer or a seller? Right now, again, slight majority, about 52.9% of you want to buy them, 47.1% want to sell them. Shaping up eerily similar to our question of the week, which is kind of interesting. That will be live for the rest of the day, so you folks on the podcast can play along as well. Last week, we asked you folks, it was time for our annual trip to OIC. What do you want us to talk about? And we had about 36% each choosing the continued evolution of zero day, which, spoiler alert, there's a big change on that front potentially. So check out our content coming to you from OIC. You'll hear all about that, as well as kind of the volume explosion out there, 36% for that, 14% about each for talking about new products and exchanges, and the infamous other, which we had write-ins for 24-hour trading, which we did talk about, and our resident humorist, Vernon Griffin, saying, wanted to know if there's been more movement, more discussion on the 1 HTE, the 1 hour to expiration options. He says he needs a more frequent fix than just 0 day. I think you're joking. I mostly think you're joking. Given the environment we're in right now, that isn't too crazy to think of anymore, Vernon. So kind of interesting stuff. The HTE, is that the next evolution out there? But let's go around the horn. Mr. Rock Lobster, what are you keeping an eye on until the next show on Thursday?
Well, we have this thing called a rally going on. And also, Zone 2. We are 91 cents away from the second half of VIX. So if you think this rally has legs, keep an eye on that VIX number. As of right now, you could see a 17 handle this week in VIX if there's no backtracking or we do have what we'll call a mercurial president. But you could see the 17 handle and kind of a funky little market we got going here. But we don't have a lot of earnings. We don't have a lot of Fed. We just have the trade. So, heck, and we have a new pope who loves Portillo's, the Cubs.
Yes.
And everything else.
They have the Leo sandwich now. Have you seen that?
I haven't, but I can't wait to try it. I gotta get somewhere where there's a Portillo's, for crying out loud.
Pope, a Sox fan from the south side of Chicago. How crazy is that?
I swear, Sebastian, and he's a Villanova grad. Sebastian 24/7 on the new Pope. It's like it's his dad almost. He almost looks like his dad, for crying out loud.
Portillo's popping 70 cents or about 6% just on the news of the Leo because it does look delicious. Granted, it's just, your standard Italian beef dipped with some hot peppers on it. Who knew the Pope liked a little bit of spice, Mr. Rock Lobster?
Well, you know what? He's kind of half Italian at this point, and it was like he spent 20 years in Peru, so the guy's been around.
It is funny. As soon as he was announced, the Cubs were like, "Hey, he's a Cubs fan," and then the Sox were like, "Hold on, here's a picture of him at our World Series game wearing White Sox gear." So they're like, "He's a White Sox fan." So all of the Sox fans are loving that one, which is kind of funny, which is interesting. My son being one of them, so I've heard a lot about that of late out there. Mr. Uncle Mike, have you had time to digest our good old Pope Leo, which I do believe my wife went on her high school retreat with Pope Leo. He was part of her school back then, or at least an advisor. How crazy is that? A papal retreat now. But Mr. Uncle Mike, sir, what's catching your eye? What are you keeping an eye on till our next episode?
Yeah, my dad's even talking to my dad's such a Sox fan. He's talking about converting to Catholicism just because.
The Pope, he was in they have to bronze whatever seats he was in. Those are now the papal seats.
They really should when you think about it. That would be something else. But yeah, with what I'm watching right now, I think that we're 5881 is a key number because that is the open of the year for the S&P 500. Watching that. Also watching to see if what's going on with bonds because Trump's getting what he wants in the stock market, obviously. He got the reaction I'm sure he wanted from the trade information, but he wants lower interest rates, and he is not getting them right now. So going to continue to keep an eye on bonds.
Are you getting back in that crazy boat with the 10-year note, sir? You never got out of it.
Never got out of it.
You're always sailing that boat. Come hell or high water, Uncle Mike, sailing that boat with the 10-year note. Unfortunately, listeners, that music means we are out of here for this show today, not for the network. I will be back in a little bit with our good buddy, Mr. Bill. Remember, if you want more good stuff, tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central. New show alert, new show hitting the network. It'll be the European Market Brief. If you ever wanted to go deep into all things European markets, we'll talk some V stocks, talk some other fun. We'll talk vol, everything else. Myself, the folks from IB, the folks from Eurex, the folks from SimCorp will be diving deep into that. It will be a video version as well, so you can tune in. To get the video version, to tune in live, you do have to register. So head on over to the website, theoptionsinsider.com. Go to the shows tab, European Market Brief, and then click register, and you'll be able to join us live tomorrow, 10 a.m. The clock is ticking. Get in there right now. Be there or be square. And Mr. Rock Lobster, where should folks go if they want more Rock Lobster goodness?
Well, yeah, just go to optionbid.com. Talk to Ted. Talk to our customer care team, 888-trade-01. Learn, and I'm launching a new product based on the volatility zones on Wednesday. So if you want to learn how to trade the vol products, come on over. What all that crazy stuff Russell does, hey, learn how to do it. Earn while you learn. My gosh, what a concept.
OptionPit.com, the place to go. And if you too want to get a delicious papal sandwich with Uncle Mike, where should they go? What should they do, sir?
Well, go to Portillo's. But if you'd like to talk about anything Portillo's or theology or just life in general, feel free to reach out to me. Or if you're looking for a financial advisor that is not afraid of the option product, go to stcharleswealth.com, set up an appointment with me. I always like talking to our listeners.
He's too self-effacing to say it, listeners, but he will take you to Portillo's if you come to his office. He will buy you the Leo. So head on out there, stcharleswealth.com, or Skippies if you prefer. But where else can you get the blessed papal sandwich? None other than the Leo. stcharleswealth.com is the place to go to begin that journey. Remember, join us tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central, European Market Brief. Be there or be square. Going to be a hot one. Even you folks in the pro, yeah, I know you want to get everything live, and I get it, but you got to register for this one to get that one live as well. So hot stuff out there. Should be a good time. European Market Brief. Be there or be square. Back in a little bit with the crypto rundown, our good pal, Mr. Bill. And then back again tomorrow To the shores of Europe we go. Should be a fun time before we're back again next Thursday, another episode of the Option Block. Stay safe out there, everybody.
You're listening to the Options Insider Radio Network, the home of the Options Podcast. For more quality options programs, visit theoptionsinsider.com or search for Options Insider Radio Network in your podcast provider of choice. Listeners can also access all of our programming through our mobile app available on the iTunes and Google Play stores. Select programs are also available via live stream at mixlr.com/options-insider. That's mixlr.com/options-insider. Don't forget to follow along with your favorite programs and submit your own questions for the hosts at twitter.com/options, stocktwits.com/options, facebook.com/theoptionsinsider, or via questions@theoptionsinsider.com.